Indulging at the Fannie Mae factory, the women of Stitch and Bitch, testing Tommy guns at the John Dillinger Museum, infomercial items at Seen on Screen, and the Tour de Donut, where you've got to eat to compete.
We crashed the party at a G.I. Joe Collectors Club meeting and soon found out that when it comes to these guys, it's hard to tell the men from the boys. Hi, we're looking for Kevin.
Hey, I'm Kevin.
Kevin, is this your place?
No, this is Ron's place right here, Ron Kapuska.
And you're all G.I. Joe collectors, right?
1964, Hasbro created G.I. Joe. It was the biggest hit of Christmas season in '64. I was one of the original collectors back then.
Here in the garage, you've got the real mother lode of the G.I. Joe collection. Are these from all the members here?
All our members.
You've got George Washington G.I. Joe.
They did a whole bunch of historical figures. Have Patton here with his dog Willie, General Grant.
You've got G.I. Joe with a mohawk.
I kind of, like everybody else, like to customize my own stuff. Switch bodies, switch heads.
Have you customized one to look like yourself?
No, I think it's going to be next on my list, though.
They also did a Santa Claus figure.
Again, that's a stretch for G.I. Joe. Come on.
It's a stretch.
This is my version of the Navy SEALs.
You've dirtied their faces up nicely.
Yeah.
Man down. Man down.
Yep. And this is the medic team. This guy got shot up pretty bad.
There's a lot of craftsmanship that goes into this. You've got to build the scenes around the G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I made my own sandbags, too. Learned how to sew.
What do you say to people who say, hey, you've taken the hobby too darn far?
Well, my mom says I have to stop, but I just won't. That's why I'm married and moved out, so it's okay.
You don't want to call them dolls, do you?
No, they're action
Never
figures.
call them dolls.
You don't want to confuse them with Ken.
No. Ken is, that's right, he's a doll.
Ken's a pansy.
Every G.I. Joe has certain qualities, right? The scar on the cheek is one.
The scar on the cheek, the other was his thumb's upside down on one of his hands. And
Now, why is that?
I've read because you cannot trademark the human body, so what they've done is they've done certain characteristics to trademark the body.
So G.I. Joe may not be a pansy, but he's a freak. Did you do some horrible things to your G.I. Joe?
I dragged him through the mud, buried him in the dirt, buried him under rocks.
Threw him off the roof without the parachute and didn't do so well.
We tied them to, like, my dad's car and drag them down the street.
Why? What's the need for that?
It was fun to watch the little skid marks, you know, G.I. Joe, see his head rolling and stuff like that.
Did you ever blow one up?
Yeah, actually, we one time put one in the microwave for fun.
This is my collection of G.I. Joes. This is called a spy island. Enemies stole papers and stuff from the Americans, and he was sent to go to the island and retrieve them back. This is the Adventure Team headquarters.
The Adventure Team headquarters. Why is there a mummy in the booklet?
It's just one of the Adventure Team pieces. I just put it in there.
So when you grow up, you're probably going to pass this on to your kids, huh?
Yeah, if I have any.
Almost all these except the one are British G.I. Joes.
And in Britain, they don't call them G.I. Joe, do they?
They call them Action Man.
I like to take my stuff out.
You still play with it?
All the time.
I can't aim my gun. I've got to turn this way to aim my gun.
Right.
And by that time...
You could just go...
And there goes my head.
Hi, I want some attention, too. Nobody talks to me.
I think the talking shark took the reality out of it for me. The Germans are crossing the bridge. Is that what's going on?
They came back, and now they're going to cross the bridge to come attack the Army base camp.
Well, I don't really go for the guns thing, but I have 4 boys, and
You think it might encourage violence among your kids?
we do have No Weapon Wednesday, so no weapons on Wednesday.
Is it called Sissy Wednesday? Or
I got my first G.I. Joe when I was 7 in 1970.
you seem to go for the bearded guys.
They're from the era called the Adventure Team from 1969 to about 1976. Every G.I. Joe came with a dog tag.
G.I. Joe is dwarfing King Kong here. What is that all about?
It's one of the sets. It's the search for the pygmy gorilla.
This looks like albino G.I. Joe.
That's the
Lifelike hair and beard? I think not. I'm not sure he's speaking English.
They have some of the newer stuff that they get to play with, and they kind of keep their hands off of Dad's stuff, but...
You don't let him touch your G.I. Joe.
Correct.
What does he say will happen to you if you touch his G.I. Joe?
He'll beat us.
Wow! Kevin, if somebody wants to join the G.I. Joe Club, what should they do?
Call me at 847-577-8437.
Hey, come on! I shot your head off!
Will and the correspondents will be back next week with another exploration into wild Chicago. But in the meantime, we want to hear from you. Send us those wild ideas of yours. Mail your suggestions to Wild Chicago, 5400 North St. Louis, Chicago 60625, or email us at wildchicago@WTTW.com. And for details on tonight's show, consult our website or call the friendly folks in customer service. Thanks for watching.
Go inside the local art scene each week with Art Beat Chicago. Tomorrow night at 7:30, it's a visit with legendary Chicago entertainer Oscar Brown Jr. and a presentation of 2 artists' video self-portraits. And stay tuned now as Edward James Olmos and Raquel Welch star in an all-new American Family, next on 11.